Lori, and today I would like to talk about something. What if I told you I could get a glimpse into how overwhelmed you feel simply by asking you to draw what's on your plate? Not your dinner, but your life, because sometimes we don't realize how much we're carrying until we actually see it on our plate. And have you ever had the feeling where everything feels heavy, but someone is asking you um, where to begin? There's so much responsibilities. There's work, there's children, there's relationship, there's mental load, there's bills. There's lots of dreams that I've been holding on, and you just feel that it never stops. We become so used to carrying these feelings that it feels normal. And what I usually get people to say during the workshops is just one of the life. This is how it is. And one of the biggest challenges is that our mind keeps organizing, planning, solving, fixing, and it doesn't stop. And that's why what we do today is simple question. Let's begin. What's on your plate? Not because you're looking to put everything on and solve it, because before we choose any direction in life, what we need to know is where we actually are. Sometimes a simple question could be resolved by stopping yourself. So, and it happens when we draw instead of uh, simply talking and explaining everything. When we draw, things come up very unexpectedly. And because drawing slows the analytical part of your mind, and it allows images, colors, textures, symbols to actually guide your emotions, and what emerges before you is your subconscious mind. So in psychology, we know that not every experience could be explained by language, and sometimes our nervous system knows something's long before our thinking mind, the way we move, the way we respond. And creative expression gives that experience a safe place to become visible. And creative body practices also support um, our awareness of the physical sensation and emotional states, and which is why we use this practice to do this. This isn't about creating a beautiful piece of art. It's about creating an honest picture of where you are so you can get the clarity. So what I'd like you to do and try yourself is take a plate, not this one, a paper plate, or simply just draw a circle on a piece of paper and imagine that that circle represents the plate, and you can draw it as big as you want, as small as you want. And what we're starting with is looking at everything you're currently carrying, not by filling the plate in, you know, maybe just going through intuitively putting everything on it, maybe with colors, with uh, collage. You can use the strings, you can use for example, anxiety looks like a tangled string sometimes. You can use a flower to represent something for you beautiful, and sometimes you create an empty space, so it's what you're longing for. So don't worry about making sense of it. Just take a plate or draw your plate and simply ask yourself, what is currently in my world? What is my landscape look like? Right here, right now, just today, and stay curious. Don't try to analyze, overthink. Notice what naturally wants to appear. And then when you spend 20, 10 minutes, 15 minutes on your plate, putting everything on that's finds important for you to put on, so then you ask yourself these questions. So what takes the most of your space? What feels surprising for you that came up? What does belong to the plate? What doesn't belong? What is completely missing that I forgot about? Which part of the plate feels more heavier? Which gives me feeling the light? What is that feeling? Connect deeply to the feeling that it gives you. And then you can ask yourself, do I feel like removing anything or adding anything to the plate that didn't come up for you? And start working with it as that's your canvas of life, your landscape. What would you want yourself to know today? How it looks like? Reflecting of where you are as a piece of plate, as something that you consume every day, as something that you present yourself to be with, as your landscape of your life. And you might notice something you never consciously recognized before. And that happens a lot, mostly all the time. And not because someone's interpreting it, not because you're trying to find the meaning, but because your own symbols begin speaking to you. They start projecting what you don't see because it's coming from your intuitive mind. And every meaningful journey begins by knowing where you are. And that's how, before we choose any new direction, before we start creating change and moving forward, the first we need to recognize where you're actually standing on. And that's the purpose of this exercise. So, no judgment for yourself, nothing to fix here. Just meet yourself with where you are, with honesty, with compassion to yourself, curiosity. And the simple practice is just to start your reflection, just to start to know yourself, to see yourself, to resonate with what's happening in your life. And if you decided to create your own plate, please send a photo of it for me and write, what surprised you the most at what showed up in this practice. Sometimes the smallest symbol could reveal a lot, because our journey doesn't begin when you want it to begin. When you say, I'm ready to begin, where you're going. And it begins when you're willing to see where you are. And this is a practice for you. So let me know. I'm waiting for your comments. I'm waiting for your photos, and reach out.